AJ, you and I talked just about half an hour ago about the CTV environment and the fact that it is kind of an emerging environment. Do you want to give me a little bit more insight into why a CTV environment and why CTV apps are important to companies?
Emerging for the last 10 years.
Emerging, it's emerging slowly.
Yeah, it is. It's rather slow. The smart TVs became popular in 2012, 2013. They were clunky and difficult to navigate. They were connected to the internet nonetheless. They're relevant and emerging today as mobiles were 15 years ago. App stores are new to smart TVs. People are finding it difficult to find the app and download it and to navigate applications, which is becoming easier. What we were talking about is onboarding those apps onto devices, which is a discussion with device manufacturers today, was a discussion 15 years ago with mobile devices, with Nokia and Sony Ericsson phones, which is relevant today to smart TVs, which I think will hopefully disappear in about 3 to 5 years' time, and it's important to be on the devices. What the smart TVs have today that the mobiles didn't back in the day is a robust app store, whether be it Samsung App Store or the Google App Store. These are humongous app stores that have a lot of apps on there, which means that consumers will definitely know how to find applications, and it's just important to be there today, however niche or not you are.
And least we forget the very large screen that people get to watch on.
Exactly.
Yes. No. Yes, and you have a number of CTV apps. Why? Why did Scripps go into that area?
Well, I think for us it was not necessarily, as Scripps Networks, it wasn't necessarily that we said, let's go everywhere. Scripps Networks was actually a combination of several different companies, and everybody had their own app strategy. So before Scripps News was what they are now, they were Newsy, and so their business model was to get out there and be everywhere. Kate's Broadcasting was acquired by the Scripps company back in 2018, and they had a similar model of, just get out there and get the content and build it. So right now what we're doing is we are maintaining the legacy of what was before, but who's to say? I don't necessarily know that would be our strategy moving forward.
Right.
There's always room for reevaluation, especially because of, as Ajay will talk about later, I'm sure, the amount of development work that it takes to maintain all of these apps.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, Atmosphere is a whole different, should we say kettle of fish? I don't know. What should we say?
So we are definitely different, but we create a lot of content and we've dabbled in FAST. And what we've seen is it doesn't create the stickiness that our CTV experience creates. And with the CTV app, you get to customize the experience and really create a stronger relationship kind of with your end customer. But FAST is incredibly tempting because you meet people where they already are. You don't have to go figure out, how do I get distribution? How do I get someone to download the software? Or in our case, we provide a lot of hardware to our customers, so how do we actually get that into their business? So I think there, depending on kind of what your situation is, I think there's really interesting, routes to go on both of those directions.
So, I mean, it's really kind of a core part of your business. So, I mean, would there have been any other way that you think the business would have structured itself?
We get asked. I mean, we even ask ourselves. We know that when you open a business, you go to Costco and you buy a smart TV, right? So why not just leverage that already there? And we've tried it, but we've really found that having that dedicated app where we can control the experience just creates stickier customers. We've been able to retain customers and keep them on our service longer. So. Okay,
well, that's the name of the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ajay, so you have customers who come to you and you create CTV apps for them. What are some of the things that you say to a customer who's evaluating whether or not to do that?
I find it difficult to tell people whether or not they should do that, because it's not my role and responsibility to tell a person as to how deep and penetrated their services should be. But when they do make a decision whether and how they need to be there, that's where we come in from a engineering perspective. It can be really easy for companies like you. You just need to pick up the phone and call me. It's not a lot of work. But the idea of how we do things, you can make it as complicated as you want it to be, and you can make it as simple as you want it to be. It depends. It's a creative world, which means that user experience design, I tell customers you can spend 1 month on a design or 17 months on a design, depending on how picky you are and what you want to achieve. And time to market is important, but simplicity as well it's important to be there and then to grow with experience that you have on there. So the idea is get on there with the simplest effort, which means that there are templates, there are simple ways to be on the device, to see how they work, to see whether Samsung is actually as deep and penetrated as they are. Is Roku more important, where consumers actually spend more time on these apps? If you're not on there, you'll never know. And it's relevant not only to the device, but the content that you have on the device and the markets that you are in. And it's a combination of this, and one story does not fit all. So we tell people that, tell us how much money you got or time you have, and we'll fit that into your plan depending on how much you want to invest in it, because it's a new space for companies, and which means that ROI is limited and people don't want to invest unless they know that they're getting money back. So that's what we say.